My father was never clinically diagnosed by a doctor. However, all the research I've done, everything I've read, everything I've lived through, and all the work I've done in the past years in therapy leads me to believe that, well, without a doubt, he's a narcissist. Living with him was definitely not easy, and it was extremely exhausting. You'd find yourself questioning everything, particularly your sanity. He'd play ruthless mind games with us, like threatening to leave and making my younger siblings and I choose between him and my mother. He denied that conversations or events ever happened, and ultimately attempted to make us believe we were going out of our minds. He was a master at uncovering our weaknesses and exploiting them. And he was a genius when it came to gaslighting. He considered his gambling and other addictions part of his work routine, which kept him away from spending any time with us. I guess outside the home is where he got the attention and the glorification he was constantly looking for, something he obviously didn't get from being a father and a husband, which he didn't pretend to hide. On an emotional level, I'd say he was completely absent. He never really showed any kind of affection or gave us any form of special attention. Any kind of love I attempted to show him was either ignored or returned with rejection. He was usually unavailable on all levels and was definitely unsympathetic to how anyone felt. He was, however, super sensitive to his own feelings and needs, and when that happened, he completely expected to be catered to and pampered. If we questioned him or criticized his behavior, he'd get extremely defensive and retaliate by dragging us into these long, torturing, and exhausting conversations that would last hours and hours and leave you utterly drained. It took me decades until I finally realized that this would always be a losing battle. Because the games that narcissists play, they're intended to wear you down and deplete your energy and will. And that's exactly what my father did. He mastered the art of creating instability by moving us around a lot. I remember moving to 7 houses and being in 4 schools. He isolated us from my mom's family and friends, and eventually his too. He took pleasure ruling with an iron fist. And even though he was hardly ever home, it always felt like we were being watched. When I first found out that he'd been tapping the house line, I was honestly shocked and numb. But as time went on, the pieces of the puzzle started falling into place, and so many things started to make sense about the past 20 years of my life. Things that he could only have known from listening to our private conversations. I ended up growing into an adult who was never satisfied with anything, and I was always striving for perfection. I'd hold others, including myself, to unrealistic expectations, and I eventually became convinced that something was fundamentally wrong with me. It's taken me nearly 43 years to finally cut all ties with my dad. Years of trying to help him, trying to fix him, and wanting so much to be the reason he got better. But nobody changes unless they want to, unless they see a reason to, or simply because they want to grow. And as much as it hurt to know that being his daughter would never be enough for him to get the help he desperately needs, it hurt me more knowing I wasn't getting the help I desperately deserved. So now, that's where I put my most effort, into me, and into healing the wounds of that beautiful, innocent little girl.